Okay. I forgot that I put the ads on every 30 minutes again. Try and cut down the sheer size of them. Just a bit of an experiment. Head on. Connie, how you doing? Good day. So we'll see how this goes. For some reason, I seem to be unable to get actually better. So over the weekend, back to being more sick, and yeah, getting old at this point. Okay, we'll restart that now, or at the start. So, oh yeah, I've been like this for 5 weeks now. Yep, ridiculous. It was just to the point where I had like a little tickle in my throat and a cough, and my voice kept going. But then all of a sudden I got hit with the whole everything else again. So we will see. Okay. Getting old. Okay. So apparently, Blazor hot reload is now a thing here. Hot reload. See, Blazor. And hot reload for WebAssembly as well as that. So we should be able to run this a little better now. We'll see how that goes. So last time, I was working on this branch, this token expiration. And it's kind of an important thing to deal with. Three. How are there three? Huh? What? Okay. Well, let's set that for a minute. Okay, so the first problem was we were getting an error when the token was still in the memory, but it was not validated. That's gone away because now we're validating on the client, and the expiration is stored there. But now, when we log in, we don't have the token available. So we gotta give that a minute. So when the token expires, so we have the token, we get the expiration, and our identity is, so now we've said it's not authenticated. So the problem is now all these are invalid because now we're not authenticated, but we're not redirecting back. So it knows we're not authenticated. Hi, Sally. Good, how are you doing? Mr. Jones, good afternoon. So we get the state, but this doesn't. All this does is invoke that task. No, it invokes the handler. Passing it the task. So that would be cyclical. So it's like this isn't. So try get auth token, gets the authentication state, and then deals with that. And we tried, if not is authenticated, then custom authentication state provider dot notify user has changed. Again, apply changes. Oh, that doesn't require the await. It requires restarting anyway. So, good, thank you. Good to hear it. So we're logged in here now. State is fine. We'll give that a minute. So this feels like we're chasing the wrong design, and I don't know what to look for is the challenge with this. Actually, let's have a try. Gemini. So it's not telling the state provider, hey, your token's expired, so behave, like log out or anything, right? So that's the problem. How do I let's see. So here now, we've been a minute. If we navigate to here or here, right, we're, as soon as we make an API request, it's going to say, hey, hold on, things have changed. Did it restart? What? Not sure why it's starting 3 projects. That's starting to frustrate me. So, definite issue after the first login with the state of the token. That's a bad sign. And then but Blazor doesn't return that because it's not that call. Right, so the pages aren't actually doing this authorize because it's waiting for the API to actually make the request. So my API request is not going to deal with, can the page be seen? Should it navigate away? Okay, so now it's broken. Oh, that worked. That did exactly what it should have done. We tested that last week, though. See, that's a problem. The first time we log in, we have to refresh for the token to be loaded. That's another problem. So we give that a minute. So the reason I'm focusing on this is I get to learn a little bit about Blazor and the auth in Blazor, and B, I get to spend a little time holding back on features. So if anyone else is interested in picking anything up or has questions about the project, etc., then it's not me just dumping features in, which gets, the bigger the project gets, the more intimidating it is for people to join, the harder it is for people to comprehend what's going on, and I don't want to make it overwhelmingly difficult for anyone to join the actual project if they choose to use it. So okay, so that's actually working. That's doing exactly what it should do. It's just this one now is not doing what it should do. So when I log in, let's log out again. And then let's log in. Try that once more. Okay, so we try there. Got no token. Wow. That's a significant number of calls. Okay, so we get in here. We have a token. We're authenticated. But we're not authenticated. So we're not authenticated, but we're not authenticated at the same time. Let's do this. Let's put a breakpoint in there. Okay. Okay. So we do get the token. Actually, we didn't. Okay, that's a bit weird. Remove that one. Put that one there. Okay, that's valid. Okay, token null. It's authenticated. Token null. Okay. So we've got an ordering problem there. I think the token is not being loaded into that straight away. So when we log in, we authenticate, we get the token, then we call login on here, and we notify user has changed, which should trigger this and load the token up again. Okay, so is authenticated is false. That's fine. So we log in. Okay. What here? It's there. Get the token. We're authenticated. So the app knows we're authenticated. But now when we navigate here, it's as if we're not getting. But if I reload, we get it. Ian, unfortunately falling ill again, I guess. Yeah, I'm still fighting it. I'm not in. It came back with a vengeance over the weekend. At least I'm not coughing every 5 seconds. That's a good sign. But yeah, not totally gone. What time? How you doing? It is. How you doing? I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. You just get rid of everything on this side, on the physical side. I'll be fine. So it's horrendous. It is. Okay, so we've got one behavior that we weren't getting last week in that it's logging out. But this weird behavior here is annoying me now. So it is not cause. That is a side effect. So it thinks it's authenticated, but it's not. I'm all good. I can't wait to get a proper full night's sleep again. Flu shouldn't last long. Do you eat your veggies? Oh yeah, I do eat my veggies. I eat pretty well. Take my vitamins and Yeah. And I exercise a lot. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah. Okay, so that's doing exactly what I want it to do now. Mm. This feels very much like I've got a like a loading state problem again, where the but no, I see it. I see the token. I see the token loaded. Now I'm making excessive calls to this. This happens a lot. Empty claims principle. So so with an empty claims principle, although hold on, maybe that is the cause. Hold on. Let's do return. Otherwise, that. Let's just try that a second. Why do you need custom auth? Because this project is, well, Water Drinking Water is kind of self-contained, so no third-party auth providers, no no other external resources. But this wouldn't be custom auth. This would be valid regardless of what I was using, right? Because I'm logging in, I need the token, right? That's erroring still. This drives me nuts, right? Because this will work now. So the purpose of Water Drinking Water is not to be a reference application for here's how to do authentication. It's a self-contained application that kind of allows all the pieces, but it doesn't need to be. Ads are going to start. I'm running ads. I'm back on a minute and a half every 30 minutes to try and cut down like large chunks of ads. It seems people respond better to the smaller add chunks. But let me know if it's a problem. No, identity does not handle everything for us, unfortunately. So in this instance, what we did is on the server side, we have a very rough, it's still hooked in to the normal identity pieces, but it is a very rough implementation. So we are authenticating when we log in. We have our login service, and in here we validate the password and generate the token. So it's very weak, I suppose would be the right word, but it's a very naive implementation. The reason being, with my main project, right, I'm using Auth0. I'm hooking into that. I wouldn't roll my own auth, given the choice. But the point of this project is to be kind of friendly, and if we integrate third-party services into it, then it makes it more difficult to join in because you don't have all the pieces or whatever. So this is self-contained. So it's still using JWT. It's still using something that looks like real auth, but it's not very good. But on the client side, what you need to do is you still need to validate that token and make sure that token's good, so that the UI itself in the Blazor WebAssembly has a concept of authenticated. And I don't know if this is the fully right way to do this or the wrong way. What I was testing there is, obviously this says return an empty claims principal. And before I was technically returning an empty identity inside of a claims principal. I don't think it makes a big difference. But let's see. No, I don't think it did at all. Hold on. So that's that. What is this doing? That all went way over, man. No worries. Auth0 has server-to-server authentication that lets you okay the token. Yeah. But I'd still need to do something to validate the token. Initially, we were doing that. We were calling validate on the server set, essentially. But the point of this project is you can check this out, and it's not, there's some difficult pieces in here, but you can work with this project without understanding those pieces, right? You don't have to pull in third-party libraries. You don't have to pull everything else in. It's a very simplistic authentication scheme, and it kind of works for now. And the point is, again, this project is not one of perfection. It's one of learning and growth. So it's meant to be kind of rough. It's meant to be, well, how could we improve this? And let's discuss this. And how could this change? And what could we use here? That's the point. Dota, good morning, by the way. I didn't say that already. How you doing? This is driving me nuts. I dislike this with a passion at this point. It seems I have to start. It's interesting how it does this. It actually starts 2 projects for the Blazor. So what's happening is, when I log in, the app knows I'm logged in, but the app doesn't know I'm logged in. So this reload appears down here, right? If I hit F12 and bring up the tools, it's going to show me a cause error. That's not the problem. That's just happening because it can't. It thinks it's got a token, but it doesn't have a token. Right. Or the server genuinely thinks that's bad. Oh. I recently watched a video from Patrick Gordon on identity. I didn't pay full attention, so I'll have to rewatch. I feel that identity is one of those things where there's so much to take in, there's so many concepts, that to really get it, you have to be using it. That's interesting. I think it's caching the old token. Nice. Yeah. There's still a lot of moving parts. There's still a lot of differences in how you can implement things. There's still a lot of rules involved. One of the things I did learn is, by default, if you have, where is it? In the program here. This is not done by default on the server. So if you're, I mean, in the, when I'm using auth0, that's being validated by auth0 as well. So I don't, and again, on the client side here, I'm validating that lifetime here, but it does mean that if I send a token up here, right, that looks valid, it won't validate the lifetime by default. So this is actually necessary to add. So it's things you have to kind of learn along the way. Oh, this is going to do. I'm pretty sure I know what this is going to say, but so yeah, 724. So that got an old cached copy of the token. So let's try that once more. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to login. We're going to put a breakpoint here. I'm going to see what that token it gives us as. Okay, copy value. Oh wow, that's awesome. It decodes it for me. You're not allowed to link, unfortunately, Hades. If you want a link, you can drop it in the Discord. That's pretty cool. It has decoding built into it. That is very helpful. But I think the problem there is the token expired. No worries, Hades. If you want to post it in Discord, you're more than welcome to post the video. It's always useful to have resources as people find them. You know, there's a lot more content out there than there are hours in the day, so not everyone gets to see everything. So, yeah. Token service. So I'm going to make this do 5 minutes. Oh no, let's do 3 minutes. Gives me enough time to debug it without it being actual expired. Stop. Full stack. Okay, so our token. So fourth, yep, okay. So now when we click here, what is this token? That's that token. But it's saying it's invalid. Token lifetime is invalid. And it is, it's giving me the old token. Cool, linked in Discord. I'm sure the docs say the same thing, it's just easy for me to leave a video running. Yeah, another drinking water is an interesting feature. Yeah. So that is, it's using the old token. So that uses the 732. I don't know how readable that is. But when I logged in, the token it pulled was the 736 token. When I made the request, it pulled the 732 token. So how's that caching that? When it's meant to be going here every time to get that token. But I got it lazy. So if it's, that's why. It's because it's lazy. It was pulling the old value. It evaluated it. When I reload, that goes away. I would imagine this works now. Well, that doesn't matter. That's kind of stateless. There you go. It's because it was lazy, because what it did, it requested it previously. And then when it's weird that it requested the state though, but it resolved it against the old token when I first, that's why. I know. So I had it set as lazy. So what happens was when I log into the application, it makes a load of requests, and each one says, "Hey, get me your authentication state," and it's gone and said on the lazy, the first one goes and pulls the token, right? So anytime I request this token after the fact, it's going to break because it's going to give me the old token every time. This one was giving me the valid token. So this thing was saying, you're valid, but this one was giving me the old token. So I said, you're valid, but then I fed the wrong token to the server because I pulled the old version. So by getting rid of the lazy here, I now only pull the version that's there. So there we go. So we just need to wait a few minutes and see that it expires and logs us out, and then we've kind of tightened this part up. And this isn't perfect, right? As I learn more about Blazor, as I learn more about the tools, I might find new ways of doing things. You might find new ways of doing things. And you're more than welcome to make PRs against this stuff. That's what the purpose of this is. I've been learning C by designing my own database. Never want to shy away from a challenge, are you? Sorry. How's that going? Yeah. But there's a few harder concepts to work with in there, right? Malloc versus the self thing that Python does. Yeah. I'd imagine. So, let's see. I want this to expire. You can actually return an object inside a method. It is scope to that method. Okay. I've never tried to pick up C. C++ bits here and there. Tinkered with it in obviously Unreal Engine. There we go. So that's logging out now. Publishing not allowed. Return not allowed. Is not allowed. So what do you return there? How do you return something from a method? There we go. Okay. We have liftoff. So, token service needs to be reverted entirely, but oh, so it's relying on the reference, changing the reference objects. Okay. Set token declaration to 1 hour. I don't think that was necessary, but it's a bit clearer, kind of. I should have said non-necessary there, but not necessary words. And then auth service. If we request the token and the token is invalid, should trigger a change. There we go. Oh. Surprised you're not tried. Isn't Rust the language of choice these days for doing cool things with? Okay. So we're going to make a pull request for that. And we'll leave that open. Against development. And that way anyone can review this for the next 24 hours if they want to. And our firmware is in C, I'm learning C. Also, the memory things Rusty is doing seems confusing to me. Yeah. So here we are. It is kind of cool when the C code dips into assembly on seg faults. That's where it errors on. Yeah. There's so many cool things to do. No, you know, I'm not gonna come at this way because it'll be messy. The problems. Here we're returning. Technically, we don't need validation anymore, but this would validate the request. We include the lifetime validator. Which is the login service. Pick out the expiration. We update the state provider. That generally works. Okay. Two, 3 days ago, I was watching a conference presentation about Kafka, and the guy said, even though you await producing a message, if you don't flush after you produce message, producing message is still async because it writes to a buffer, then it produces messages in batches. Set time. I'm like, so my transactional outbox pattern fails in case some network error occurs on the way or server crashes or something. Never do that. Well, again, with delivery guarantees and acknowledgements, etc., your outbox doesn't fail. So Kafka does have it has a buffer, and you can configure that. So it might be a meg, and which means essentially that if you're making really tiny messages, a couple of hundred messages might go through before it actually sends them to Kafka, right? So that's why the outbox is kind of a nice pattern. And in my main project, I need to introduce those tools. It's in my library to do the outbox. I don't have the SQL implementation, I think. Ooh. Sorry, distracted. But yeah, it doesn't. You do need to flush if you want the messages to go immediately. But again, if you're using the outbox, what do I do? So, a bit of a diversion. I'm sorry from water, but That's triggered me now. So GitHub, TBD, develop, Kafka, functions. Sorry, just realized I just so I have the outbots. Outbot service. That's the consumer. Treat this message. Yeah, so I actually flush. I actually do flush on the publishing, because I know that I'm using this as kind of the outbox thing. So every message will flush for me, which can be noisy. If you're producing a lot of messages, then from a performance perspective, you probably want to not flush and use the buffer. So if you're producing a load of like eventing, like metrics or something like that, then you might want to consider not flushing, because then that buffer's constantly moving, right? The very worst that happens is you lose. Yeah. Because there's going to be cost, right? The flush is going to do the acknowledgement, right? I also don't topic consumer. Yeah, I also try and process the message before I commit. So with my consumers, auto commit is off, and or should be off. Otherwise, you'll acknowledge that message has been received. Yeah. Interesting. That doesn't deal with delete. But yeah, so my Kafka extensions, I do need to still include this SQL Server version of this outbots. There's a basic in-memory version right now. So what do I do here? I inject the publisher. I inject a Kafka publisher. And yeah, I publish async. Right. So ultimately I'm calling that. Sorry, that took me through time to get my head back around. But I don't use this yet in my framework. Right now I've got a very weak point in that it could it could kind of collapse on me there. Okay. So this is fixed. Water. That one. Apply. In / token vision. Don't need to add a comment there, just link it. So, I mean, I'm open. If anyone has any suggestions, by the way, as to features and things that might be interesting to add to this project that might be useful at a varying level of skill, ideas on how to expand it, I'm more than happy to kind of create these items, because I think the one thing I'm mindful of is if I keep going forward with the project and keep adding features in, it works to demonstrate, but it's not really. I'm not really developing an application here. I'm developing a load of features on top of it, and it's going to get more intimidating to do. So I'm just mindful of that. Backing up on me. Okay, ads are about to start. I'm going to take a very quick break to get some water, and I'll be right back. I will never understand Twitch's short ad break things. It said 1 minute 30 when I started to go BRB, and I come back and it says ads are running. Oh well. Apologise if you're behind the ads. Okay. So there's a few features we could potentially work on here that would allow us to give a few more features for people to work with or tinker with, building clients, etc. Is it drinking negative water intended? Did you just test that? Oh, you just, let's have a look. So, like, let's have a look. Nice. Rambling Geek, good afternoon. Nope, it's not intentional. But that highlights a discussion point, right? We added this page, and we naturally assume that someone's going to enter a positive value, because why would you enter negative 24? So now I need to enter 75 just to move the needle, right? Because I need to do just to offset it, right? So now we're technically at 75. So there we go. But that's the sort of thing that's a perfect issue for discussion, right? I should not be able to enter a negative value in block when so this is a useful one. Thank you for pointing it out, Hades, by the way. Appreciate it. Where would you naturally think to fix this problem? So the assumption's been made, right, by me, by the product manager, that would clearly validate that you don't enter anything other than a positive value for the fluid ounces consumed, right? That's assumption. Developers have not even thought to check that because they've assumed that who would enter a negative value, and that feature goes out. So the problem with writing an issue right now is there's actually two areas for this to go wrong. The most natural place to fix it is on the UI. But the problem is we're developing an API that is meant so that anyone can develop a UI. And if a developer comes along and develops another UI, Vue, Svelte, React, whatever they want to develop, and they put the features in there, and they call the API. If we don't do the validation on the API, then we've got a hole, right? So we have to validate. But should we even have to worry about that? All my stuff only validates on the server. which isn't wrong. You want to get into a bodybuilding show dehydrated? It's an intended feature. Right. It's not wrong to only validate on the server, but then we have to deal with, okay, well, now we need a response type. We need to return that properly. Handle the validation on the client. For something like this, we can enforce that rule on the client, just as easily as on the server, but know that the server's there to back us up, right? So that we can't possibly sneak that in. So it's not wrong to do it on the server. Exactly. The system's facade for me is the API and keep my front door closed. Yeah. But the problem is you end up with error messages that are... So I actually was looking at this weekend with the Agile platform. I introduced some validation on adding projects, right? So I had the dedupe feature of the projects, and my validator is set to essentially throw. Doesn't return a response, just throws an exception if the validation is bad. So I have a design choice to make there. Do I try catch? Do I, pardon me, my client should not receive a 500 error, right? I should not receive an exception. So I've got to, how do I design that message out properly? What standards do I follow? In the case where your UI is very specific, or you might use different terms here, right? Because your UI might not read the same way as mine. If I return an error message, I've got to return a very generic error message from the server because it's for the API. On the client, you might want to consider a different way of handling that error, right? Or handling that validation. So it might be a different message or something. You don't want to put your knowledge of your UI should not live in your API, right? Is what I'm saying there. So I'm kind of in both camps. I get that the API should be the gateway, right? It should be the there's no question that the API in this case should definitely have the validation. Okay, monitor. Whatever you want to do. My monitor just went off on the right hand side. So yeah. So for this story, we'll do two actual items. We're logging once to consume. Sorry. So I'm going to say that what we need to do is so fast endpoints uses fluent validation. So we need a validator for the parameters, and we should return a list of, well, in this case, we should return a message that we should only return. Another question for you. Sanity checking this value. Now you've opened up a can of worms, Hades. that log? No, it logged as 0. That's interesting. Okay, that logged. I probably just entered one too many zeros. I don't remember what we actually set as the data type there. I mean, the browser, phone app, or whatever is just another client. Someone can potentially talk to the server using code, and it could make the server in an unwanted state. If the exception isn't handled, it might even possibly crash the server. In your case, it's just adding 2 values, but another time it could be much more complex. Absolutely, yeah. And I'm not debating. There's no question that the validation should belong in the API, right? But again, the UI, validating on the UI is a quicker thing to do for something like this. Knowing that the UI, the API is your backup. The problem with relying solely on API validation is that the messages you return are more generic. So it's something you should consider, right? You might have to do it on both sides anyway. Can we create UI validation based on our model? I believe, yeah, we can put validators on there. But sanity, right? So this tends to another challenge, right? We can't sharing the model here. Like view models is shared, and that's a benefit of having Blazor here because I can share those view models. The capture models though are not. That's just binding to a value. Some I think that was Judicus. Remove. Don't leave that sort of stuff lying around there. It's because you just move things around. That's all. That's because the feature was this. Hey, I think it should be done this way, and we kind of accepted it and merged it in. But yeah, the validation in this case we could rely solely on the server side. If you can look at the structure though, right? Log consumption. If it's a success code, that's all it returns, and then it updates the current percentage if this was true. So yeah. Labels, API. So let's have a look. Fast endpoints. Documentation. Validation. So, fast endpoints uses I think I might have put a link to that before. For the log consumption request. Now again, should we do sanity as well? Mr. Anhorn, good morning. How are you doing? Should we do sanity in so much as we shouldn't allow 10,000 fluid ounces to be consumed. Right? Is there an upper limit? Like, should I be able to record, 200 fluid ounces in one log? Or, this makes it a little bit more difficult, should I be able to log in a single log more than my daily? Right? Is there any real... What are you doing, monitor? Monitor that keeps turning off to my right. Right? Is there a sane value? We know we don't want negatives, that's fine. Right. It's becoming more and more a simulation now. Well, and again, this is a great opportunity to discuss and to find opinions on these things as well. Logging, not logging, validation, how you do it, what you return, what you actually validate upon. Like, would you expect me to enter 5,000 or 500 or 500 or 5,000 fluid ounces in a single consumption? Is that useful? Is that helpful? Who are we to tell the user how much water they've consumed? I mean, if you drink 5,000 fluid ounces of water, you're hydrated for certain. But should you? Is there a cap? Right. Obviously, you can drink more than your daily target. You can log that, but 500 fluid ounces is a lot of water. Yeah. For right now, everything's fluid ounces. We've kind of discussed the whole transformation or the what's the word? Yeah, right now everything's fluid ounces. Everything's captured that way. It'd be nice to cap it according to safe drinking limits, so from the time of last entry is that a safe amount. I mean, again, I'm not so much concerned about this app being. I mean, this app is not going to be an app from my perspective, right? This is a useful tool to discover thoughts, opinions, questions, etc. Right? I do not want to make this um, Sorry, I'm just dealing with something. Yeah, I'm mindful of making it too opinionated. So actually, giving health advice is not something I want to. I really want to get into. It's why when the idea would be your friends' usage consumption would only be percentage. You never see your friends' actual consumption here because it's not a competition, right? People that it should be decided by someone who's 300 pounds that takes steroids or Conventive Vita for sure. Would include them, right? I mean, I think putting a sane upper limit on a single log is useful. To Mr. Anholm's point, right? I might go in there and kind of forget and say, oh, well, I actually drank 250. So entering the amount I've actually added for the day is reasonable, right? I drank all the water as menu. I just didn't log it all in one go. So, with that said, then is like 999 kind of a limit, right? How much water is too much in a day? Drinking more than the kidneys can eliminate could cause hyponatremia in some people. Noting that the kidneys can eliminate 27 to 34 ounces of water per hour, or a total of 676 to 947 ounces per day. More than that might put you in the danger zone. 28 litres of water is an awful lot of water. So maybe we cap it at 1,000. Again, we're not trying to make this an app about telling people here's the healthy way, right? We're just making this about tracking and helping prompt your friends to drink water. So maybe capping that at 1,000 maximum for the day. Or no, capping it at 1,000 an entry. If you go and enter 3,000 fluid ounces of water in a day, then yeah. And again, this app, if you were going to take this app and move it forward and actually make it an app for yourself and actually put it out in the marketplace, then you'd want to sorry, I'm dealing with something. So yeah, let's say um, let's say for a single entry should not emit more than 1,000. And I think, Mr. Anhorn, you were kind of making a point about the measurements before. Obviously, that changes based upon the measurement, right? If I'm measuring in milliliters, that scale changes. So could make it configurable. Perhaps I think we just have the default be 1K. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, um, think I need to build a T tracker. Law of trivialities in action. Law of triviality. Yeah, good call. Well, this app you could easily take and modify to do what you want there. So it's educational content. Talking with peers. Yeah, to your point, Ian. Yeah, that's a good point. Law of triviality. I've not heard that used before, but yeah, we're putting disproportionate weight to a feature here. But again, I mean, this is a sort of thing that would get overtaught. Absolutely. It's a sort of thing that would, even in a real project, it would actually get talked about quite a lot and go through the motions of debating this part a lot more. But it's kind of what the project's for this stream, right? So kind of works. Fixed a bug, added new features this morning, and started planning out a rewrite of some of our software. Oh, I released it. So you started planning a rewrite and actually released a rewrite? That's impressive pace. Ads are about to start again. I apologize if you're behind them. Let's do this. So the conclusion that specific numbers in this case aren't too important, just going to make a decision. Yeah, so the recommended maximum per day before going into dangerous territory is about 939 fluid ounces. So if we say you can't enter more than 1,000 in a single log, that's a sane value. Well, it's an insane value. You shouldn't drink 1,000 fluid ounces, being that your body can't process that much water. But if you were catching up, again, to Mr. Anhorn's point of you haven't logged anything all day and now you log it, and that is 28 litres of water. So you would be very hydrated. But it's kind of a insane, sane value, right? And again, if we change the measurements, if we change things around, then that could become even less sane. Because if we change to liters and milliliters, etc., then these values move around. So again, configurable somewhere maybe down the line, but yeah. Actually, this should be non invalid values for log consumption. Did you hear about the water drinking game show? I think it was on some radio station, resulting in the death of someone, if I remember correctly. I didn't hear about that, but sounds about as idiotic as modern media gets. But not intentionally, but that's why since I started dreaming up this idea, the goal was for this. So when you have a group of friends, it won't show you how much they've drunk. It'll show you how close to their target they are for the day, right? So the idea being you can nudge them and whatnot, rather than just saying, "Oh, I've drunk 500 fluid ounces. Why haven't you drunk that?" "Oh, well, I've drunk 550 fluid ounces." It's not a competition. It's a friendly prompt. A much better way to motivate each other. Yeah, and that's kind of the goal. Okay, so issues. Pardon me. Issues have grown. We have a PR. So if you're interested in knowing what changes we made to get this functionality now, we can log in, we can log out. It is keeping track of the token. Everything's kind of functional. That's great. The PR is on the repo. So a negative value. That was a good find. That was a good diversion. So other features in here right now. This is the one that's being viewed. Make the timeout on the token configurable. That's kind of a minor enhancement. Could provide a configuration option underneath the settings. Low priority. Create a getting started guide for Visual Studio Code. Again, IPAC's kind of highlighted the fact that I'm using Rider all the time. Maybe it's useful to get different IDEs. So that would be, how do you get it set up and get the project checked out and running? So these two stories go hand in hand. Being able to see what you've entered for that day, right? So that you can actually have an idea, not just this. So, and the API should receive a date, but then this could use the current date. And again, the point of this is not necessarily for me to get these in a place straight away where anyone can go and pick them up and work with them. They can have discussion, right? People can ask questions. You don't have to pick up a thing just based upon what's there. I want to make sure that people understand that if you want to contribute to this project, it's about the discussion, it's about the teamwork, not just, hey, there's a thing, go work on it, right? Because I've seen that environment, right? I've seen that, hey, here's a piece of work, go work on it, go work on it, go work on it, right? In an actual business. And it doesn't create the best code. It doesn't create the best team. It creates a bunch of people focused on getting the job done and not thinking about why they're doing the job or how they're doing the job. So for anything on this project, anything that you want to talk about, any questions you have, everything is open, right? That's kind of why I want to do it this way. List by consumption, registration, API validation. Again, the API doesn't have any validation, so I linked to Fluent validation there, so that needs some more validation as well. This is an extra feature. Depends on 3 and 27. 3 is the API. Yep. That's UI features. This is a feature worth talking about at some point, like achievement badges, like well hydrated, etc. We can talk about the actual achievements you could have there. Swagger documentation, that's a good first issue because you could get to learn how to add Swagger and make sure the endpoints are well documented. The request samples put in. So Rambling Geek originally did a creating the actual test account. So when you actually start the project, you can actually run this to create your initial account. Creating a set of them that would help validate the endpoints. That would be useful, right? Hi Shai, how you doing? This is being able to log in and register, when you first go to the app. This is in the Blazor app. Again, if anyone wants to build a different UI on this, they're more than welcome to against the API. And then being able to see your friends' percentages. And then see your friend groups. So this is kind of done but not done, right? Because the friend groups is here, but the friends aren't there. Doing good, select well. Nice, good to hear it. I'm okay. I'm a little sick again. Backpedal on that. So my voice is still very bad and I'm kind of stuffy. So I apologise for anyone. Hopefully it isn't coming across too badly on the stream. And we're just kind of reviewing the backlog for Water Drink Water right now. Yeah, I hope so too. It's been a rough couple of weeks with this. Okay. Cool. So, I mean, if you're new to the stream, if you've not been here before, this project is a fully open source project. You're more than welcome to go check it out. The features in here right now are pretty basic. We can log our consumption of water, and we can create friends groups, and we can set our target for the day. So if we set that to 350, that's probably because I set it to 1,000 before. I'll always be above that, right? So we go here. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever be that hydrated. So there you go. So you can log, and target goes up, or rather our consumption increases, and that's our progress towards our goal. Bunch of issues now in the backlog of things that need to be done, can be picked up. Some of them are friendly, some of them are a little bit more involved, but you're more than welcome to ask questions and review. I'm sick in my belly again, or it wasn't over. Also a possibility. Oh no. Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff going around that's not not easily fought off. I don't want to necessarily merge this. I want to give it at least 24 hours to review even my PRs. You're more than welcome to review the PRs. Everyone has a say on the project, right? That's kind of the point. But what I'll do is tomorrow I'll merge that, and then I'll kind of pick up something else. If you are interested in joining, if you're interested in doing something, you're more than welcome to kind of. I don't know. Can you put your name on a project like this, or do you have to kind of? Is there a way? Because I think you have to be. Yeah, you have to be kind of a part of the group, right? Maybe. I mean, ultimately, you'd fork the repository and make a PR back when you're ready. But again, if you want to take something and you can't put your name on it, you can at least add a comment and say, "Hey, I'm interested in doing this. I'll work on this," because I don't want to pick up those stories and kind of do them while someone else is working on them, and then find, oh, now I've got a PR that doesn't make sense because I've done it the way I'm going to do it. Right? I don't seem to have a fever. I don't think it's the flu, luckily. Yeah, I don't think I've had the flu. I think I just got a very long running cough, and I keep getting bouts of sinus issues. So the cough is today. The cough is actually not too bad. A few times, but not as bad as it has been. Um, yeah. Yep. Here's hoping. Also, Mr. Jones. He's also got a bad cough. Oh. I've just learned that I will not be streaming tomorrow. That ain't good. Okay, so rather than just kind of waffle on for the remainder of the time, probably should just end a little bit earlier today. I don't want to go too far, with all this. If people are interested, the PR is there, right? You're more than welcome to check it out and appreciate it. You're more than welcome to provide any insights if you have the time, and I'll review it again. I'll maybe start Wednesday's stream with a kind of quick review. But I just learned that I have an appointment first thing tomorrow morning, so I will not be, unfortunately, able to stream. So that ain't good. Yeah, it's good to get that issue solved. It's good to get the token validation and all this smoothed out, so there's no random errors. The all state provider was difficult to tinker with. I'm sure that's not the end of it. I'm sure we'll have other fun in the future with that. But yeah. Much fun times. Have a good phantasmal day. Thank you, One. Hope you are well. Hope you had a good weekend. Thank you for being here. I don't know if you saw the fixes that I made to get that to work, but we did get over that hump, which is good. So let's go and I don't see anyone. Oh well. Okay, well, I'm going to finish up. I'm going to say goodbye for now. I'm not seeing anyone that's streaming that's I want to jump into. They're all either streaming to massive audiences, or I don't really feel like jumping into that right now because I've got to run. So I'm going to just drop off for now. I think that's 2 days in a row. Not liking that. No raids. But thank you very much for joining me. I will be back on Wednesday now. I apologize for no stream tomorrow. But if you have any thoughts, opinions, questions on water, you're more than welcome to jump in the Discord. You're more than welcome to ask and to chat. And yeah, thank you very much. Hades, thank you very much for posting that link. I'm going to give that a look afterwards as well. So more information on identity is never bad. So take care, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all again soon. Bye all.